Good Wednesday morning, and welcome to sunny Florida Ice Age TV. Here's a change of pace, right? How about this from my parents' view? Kind of like me, got a pond, right? Lake, pond, what do you call it? A reservoir, man-made thing, whatever, with alligators, yeah. Hey, it's Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age. Even though some days anybody watches my channel probably questions that, but yeah, it's about cars and trucks and other conversations. I just like to share my ideas, views, and thoughts, and hopefully others can think, yeah, isn't that something in this crazy world we have on here? I mean, just awesome shorts and short sleeve, and life is good, right? Just like I was talking about the weather yesterday, was the change of weather can make things so much nicer. Your attitude and how you look at things, what you can do. And yeah, so here's the morning routine here at my parents' house, and getting my morning coffee here. And what are we talking about today, right? Oh my goodness, got my Keurig coffee machine. I've had a bunch of these. This one here is so fast. I mean, oh my gosh, this is like the latest greatest one, and it just makes my Starbucks Pike Place coffee like instantly. So it's really cool. It was on sale at Costco yesterday and picked that up. What are the conversations this morning? And I got to thinking this morning, brought the race truck down. Let's go check it out. We can see the status of the garage here. Because it's tight. Yeah, here's the status. Got everything unloaded yesterday. And now I've got the Harleys and got the race truck down here, and got the Bronco, the Raptor here, and the Acorns. Oh my gosh. It is Acorn City down here. Look at this here. I mean, these trees. That's why so many squirrels down here. Not talking about me. But yeah, and here's my dad's recycling container. Probably should get that. So I actually did some, boy, oh boy. You get spoiled when you're down here in the summer months, and you're so used to the hot weather. And gotta get this here. Just didn't get everything out of it. So yesterday we went swimming there. I mean, cold. I mean, like right now it's kind of cool out here. I mean, it's not cold, but it's not like you're used to in the summer months. Anybody who lives down here in Florida knows what I'm talking about. The humidity, it's a sauna. It's a sauna when you come in. But yeah, got the race truck here. And got the Harleys here and this truck. The race. Have we talked about that? I don't know. It's hard to keep track of all the things I talk about. And what really spurred that thought on was I read an article about Joe Gibbs Racing that's using a electric race NASCAR for their pit stop training. So apparently Joe Gibbs has figured out having a race electric race car is much more affordable and easier to maintain and easier to train the pit crew people to be the most efficient they can be when they're out there racing. And so they're using an electric NASCAR race car. But you got to think to yourself too, boy, is that just the beginning? Is that the beginning of the changeover? I even thought to myself, man, can you even imagine going to a racetrack like NASCAR and there's no noise, or they create noise? I mean, this is making me start thinking about my slot cars. What was it? FSX? What's the cryptocurrency thing? There were always little, back in the day, 70s. I mean, they're still out there. The 70s when I was growing up, they had these slot car electric cars where you could build yourself a nice slot track. And you had two cars, and you had your electric controller, and you'd race your friend. And I don't know if it's called the FTX track, but anyways, that I just thought to myself, oh my gosh, can you even imagine that NASCAR starts converting over to electric vehicles? Which I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure at some point there'll be electric. You know, it's already happening. It's already electric races. But I got to think to myself, race. Wow, race. You know, just think what's from mankind, who had the first foot race? You think about this. Think about the Roman times, the chariots, racing the horses in their chariots. what intrigues us to race? It's race, 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 race. And race to me and anybody else, race means you're trying to accomplish something very quickly, get somewhere very quickly. Who's the race to the moon was the 60s, the race to the moon over Russia. I guess that was the race. So you can just go through the list of, race, of the general meaning of that, and, the underlying message is that you're moving very quickly and trying to get something done, and you're trying to win something. You're trying to outdo your competitor by you being faster than them. And that's what I was thinking is, wow, you look at the era, especially the 1900s, the whole era of the the car manufacturers and even the motorcycle manufacturers revolved around racing, because it was a statement that if a manufacturer could make the fastest motorcycle or the fastest car, it then resonated to people that manufacturer had their act together, and that's pretty cool. And their vehicle, because in a race, I'm not just talking about a sprint race, I'm talking about long-term race. The whole idea was manufacturers tried to prove to people they built a motor and vehicle that could last for hours and hours and hours, if not days, to show that they know what they're doing and they've got a great product. And then the brand recognition started from that. So you think about racing and how just the foundation of racing built the automotive industry and the motorcycle industry, because it proved to the manufacturers proved to the general public that they had the better of the two or three or four, whatever it was, of the competitors. And like Harley Davidson and Indian, those are such borderline cutthroat competitors. How Indian has gone broke numerous times, and Harley Davidson finagled their way through not going broke. And boy, the good old days of this Indian versus the Harley, and many other manufacturers out there, but those are just the most dominant, stick out in my head. And then you go back to NASCAR. They kind of started taking off, I guess, in the late 50s, early 60s, I guess. I'm not the expert on that. And, the Ford, the Chevy, and then the Dodge. I mean, the Daytona 500, what Dodge and Richard Petty accomplished, where NASCAR had to shut down the speeds because the Dodge was building these cars that were going 200 miles an hour plus around a racetrack. Beyond believable. I mean, so Dodge got its footprint known as the Hemi motor. That was the Hemi motor is what kind of the 426 Hemi. I mean, there's so many things that racing has created for the manufacturing side, especially when it comes to vehicles and motorcycles, that has made them stand above the others. I can remember growing up and having dirt bikes, and I was a Yamaha guy growing up. It's all, even today, to this date, you have the shootouts on the manufacturers. It was at Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Suzuki. Even though now KTM, you didn't even hear of KTM back in the 70s when I was growing up. And even though I think it was the Penton that brought KTM. KTM was a bicycle manufacturer over there in Germany. And I've read about them years ago, so I'm not the most abreast in the information, but it was Penton, I think, that bought up the KTM and then started making motorcycles, I think. Could be wrong. I had the Jack Piner Hair Scrambler Edition 200 EXC 1997 KTM. Enduro, hair scramblers like enduro motocross combination type of motorcycle riding, and that was big time back in the late 60s, early 70s. That was once again, someone trying to prove that their motorcycle could be put through all types of conditions and circumstances, and it was, the better of the two. And I just read that. I just remember reading that article. It was so intriguing how it just seems like Jack Piner, who was one of the key guys or something, got, I think, KTM to become a motorcycle manufacturer, I think. Anybody can look that up, research it. But the whole point is, racing has created incredible challenges that I guess, in so many ways, makes us as individuals always want to outdo each other and be the better of the two. And how do you accomplish that? But, well, in the engine side, or I should say the movement side, it's been shown, through the fossil fuel age, even though electric vehicles were around. Jay Leno talking about electric vehicles were around back in like the 1930s, I believe. That was kind of the elitist vehicle back then, believe it or not, because only the elite had electricity, could have recharged their car. I can't even imagine about like electric car back then going very far. But the whole infrastructure, roads, it just wasn't the same. But anyways, so racing, and I just think to myself, on so many fronts, racing has, like, look at my Raptor, look at my Ford Bronco Raptor, which we call it the Braptor because it's a Bronco, so we just say instead of Raptor, Braptor. If anybody's out there kind of wondering why do you call your Ford, why do you call it a Braptor? So I think about how the Baja runs with these, the Ford F-150 Raptor, same thing, the Ram TRX. It's all about the Baja racing. If you ever watch this Baja racing, oh my gosh, that's insane. When these guys go and drive like they do for a day or two or something. I mean, oh my gosh, insane circumstances for the vehicle and the person in the vehicle getting beat up and jarred around. How do you have any kidneys when it's all said and done? So that has brought to me and to you and anybody else, really cool vehicles because of the racing. The racing has brought us opportunity to have, in so many ways, a very similar, off-road racing vehicle for the Raptor brand, where you go to the Hellcats, or you go to the Corvettes, or you go to the Camaros, or the GT500. All the racing has brought us these really cool vehicles. I think more so than ever in modern times. We have had, at the within hand's reach, which I never even dreamed back in the 70s when I was a kid growing up, and I saw the muscle cars, be forced away because of EPA guidelines, and it just went, everybody knows that story. The early 70s was the heyday, and then it was all over. And to think now, you can go out and borderline, you can buy a GT500, and that thing, for the most part, is, it's race ready. I mean, it has more capability than I have to even drive it. I mean, and that's the thing. You buy these vehicles today, and Porsche 911 Turbo, you can go through the whole list of vehicles that are, that you can now purchase and can you as an individual even handle the capability of what it's going to do, which for the most part, no. Just like motorcycles. If you think about the Hayabusa, and then the Kawasaki has like a turbo, a supercharged or turbo, like ZX14 or something. I mean, beyond believable. But then I think to myself, if you watch these race videos with the police, if you watch these Arkansas State, if you haven't watched them, I'm sure people have, but go to the Arkansas State police chases. These guys are crazy. I mean, I'm amazed that state even allows this to go on with their police. If you want to be a race car driver, just go sign up to be a state Arkansas law enforcement patrol officer. If you see what these guys do and they chase these people that are on speed chases, I mean, I give the guy credit, but I also think you are crazy. Just one little thing. And the cars that these police officers are driving, it's not like it's a NASCAR built car with a cage in it. I mean, I don't think it is. I could be wrong. I don't think so. The cage I know is they got the back seat divider from the prisoner grabbing the police officer and driving down the road. I don't know these things have these exotic roll cages in them, but these Arkansas State Police, you watch these videos, these guys are doing 130, 140, maybe 150 miles an hour. I think their cars kind of top out when they're chasing people doing 170, 180, 200 miles an hour through the state of Arkansas. It's pretty neat to watch. But you also think these state police are putting people at risk to die like never seen before. They're driving down the shoulder at 130 miles an hour past a tractor trailer. Wow, the race, right? And what intrigued the guy that's in the car to race away from the police officer, which, yeah, there's infinite variables on that. So racing. But then, to kind of change the subject here, I got this morning, and for me, here's my parents' house, as you kind of see, and this is a house that's a house that I used to share with my parents. It's right across from my house, but you can't see it because the property with the trees, shade that. But yeah, that house was built in 2000, and that used to be my parents would come up and visit, and I babysat that house forever. I took care of it. I used to spend weekends and hours and hours and hours taking care of my property and their property. And after X amount of years, I eventually was like, wow, like 11 years later, I'm like, I'm done. I want to go do something else. I never traveled, never went any. All I did is babysat the properties. Like, yeah, I'm racing to get away from this. So, anyways, so I think of myself and other aspects of life, the race. It's just for us. You get up in the morning, it's like a race, right? You get out of bed, got to get your breakfast, got to get everything in order, got to run out the door. Not so much everybody has to do it anymore. They have to race to get to their from their bedroom to the kitchen to their office in their house, which that's pretty cool if you have that lifestyle, I guess. But at the same time, you get up in the morning, it's a race. Then you get on the roads, and it's a race. You're racing people in the car. I mean, what is it about us once you get on these roads? It's crazy. I mean, we're all part of it. You get on the road, and somebody's not going fast enough, or you're not going fast enough, or they're going too slow, or you're going too slow. So we race down the road to get to work. We race down the road to get back home. Sometimes people racing to get back home to literally go home. Go walk in the door, sit down, and kaput. It's over. And that's it. They raced home, and they're furious about the day. Coffee in me here. There's my dad in his younger years. How about that guy, huh? He was the award winner of AT&T of having the best absentee record. I've talked about that before. He didn't miss a day of work in like 25 years that he worked for AT&T. Isn't that pretty impressive? Yes, I think to us, especially as I live on the road. If you follow my channel, I'm not making it up. If you watch my channel, I'm traveling to see family. Then I live on the road, take care of my, business up north. And then I'm always out riding motorcycles. I'm always racing around. I mean, anybody that follows my channel, like, yeah, this guy races around all the damn time. He's here, he's there, he's over there. But, other people race around the world more than me. I mean, there's people that live on jets. And my dad did that, believe it or not. My dad used to travel around the world. He's seen many different countries and societies, and he's seen the different cultures. So my dad's, been exposed to a lot in the world. And, you like to brag about your dad, your parents, your kid. I can only hope you want to, because that just reinforces how much you love them and care about them. And boy, if that ain't a challenge today, I mean, it's just incredible where we are. Even though mankind's been around how many years and all the technology, but we still have all the hate, the divisions, the differences. We just can't love each other, but just let each other be who they are. I mean, the control factors. I bring so many of these conversations up because I just like to talk about, for us as individuals, we get caught up in our day-to-day routines, what we're doing. You lose focus what you're doing. And for me, just being a people person, that's been my career, just going and talking to people and making sales calls and creating business and interacting with people. And you get those people skills just by interacting and seeing who people are. And I just think it's just incredible how we're all so unique and different to each one. Each one of us is just so different, and how we look at things and understand things and perceive things. And sadly for me, I've talked about all the time, the social media things, just really trying to convince people to be something or not more than ever. It's just, it's subliminal messages. It's the, just so many things going on, the advertising like never seen before, of, basically telling people, hey, you can become an animal if you want. Yeah, we've seen that too. I mean, geez, just like, wow. But anyway, so what's the race for that? It seems to be like a race of the change. I mean, sincerely, are we seeing the race of times? Meaning that it just seems like things are picking up faster for the change of times and the racing to get there. I mean, let's just look at the green agenda. Does it seem like this thing's on hyperspeed, that the race to change things more so than ever? I'll talk about that. The Ford F-150, my 2023 F-150 Lightning, that'll probably be sitting at the dealership when I get back up north at the end of the year, first of the year. That's been awarded the truck of the year. And that's, I think, from Car and Driver, I think that was, or maybe Motor Trend. I think Motor Trend magazine has elected the F-150 truck of the year. And the reason they say is because Ford still, this is what I talk about in my videos. You ever go back and watch my electric reviews of my Ford Mustang Mach-E, my Ford F-150 Lightning, you'll see how I talk about what Ford, I think, did a really smart thing doing. And that's what they say. One of the reasons it won Truck of the Year is they still kept it the vehicle. They didn't get this radical technology like the Rivian. To me, it's just no way. Too much technology. The Tesla, too much technology for me. Yeah, we'll talk about Tesla here in a second. Have you witnessed what's going on with Elon Musk? I love to talk about this guy because he's rattling so many, different sectors of the business and the social media and what he's doing. But anyways, hopefully I remember to say all that, talk about that. But the whole point is F-150 truck. It's just such a truck. It's basically a guy. You wouldn't really know it's an electric truck when it goes down the road, unless you kind of knew the lighting of it and it had a badge on it. You really wouldn't notice it's a Lightning electric truck. It's an F-150 truck. Yeah, I drive down the road all the time, and I think it's here comes the Lightning come up on me. It's not, just to show you how general that look of that truck is, but it just keeps the truck. It's still a truck, and the interior of it is still a truck. You don't feel like you're in this space capsule or this video room to figure out how do you push what button. If you watch my videos, you'll see when I try to drive the Rivian, you'll see when I try to drive the Tesla Plaid, it's befuddling. You're sitting there trying to figure out how do you even operate this vehicle without having to take a whole computer training session of watching somebody walk around and give you in great detail of how to operate the car. When the Ford F-150 Lightning came out, the Ford Mustang, I just jumped in the car, pushed the button, it turned on, it turned the dial, and here we go. It isn't so easy on that. So that's what they say. They give the Ford F-150 Lightning Truck of the Year because it's pretty much the same vehicle. It's just powered with a battery instead of a gas engine. And so that's why they think it's a really great overall purchase for an individual. And it's really in a great, depending on what model you get, it's a $40,000+ truck. So it's not like you have to spend $100,000 to have one. But who does that, right? Yeah, so back to Tesla. On the race, so now investors are really getting upset. Can you blame them? The stock is 56% down. The stock has tanked, and for Tesla, so what the complaint is Elon's had too many things in the, he's too many things going on that he's now focused on Twitter. And for some investors are frustrated. I mean, I get it. If you're an investor and the stock was 258 or 260 at the beginning of the year, and now it's like 174 at the end of the year, you're as an investor, you've lost your tail. When Tesla's always been your winning stock pick, so people are mad at him because they feel like he's lost the vision of Tesla. I wouldn't say that's the facts, but that's the implications that you're hearing. But what's going on with Tesla? You have to say to yourself, it's a race of electric vehicles. So I don't think you can blame Elon Musk totally on abandoning Tesla, and he's fixing it on Twitter. I think you have to look at the reality, which I've talked about this for years. Other people have talked about it for years. What happens when the other manufacturers like Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Volkswagen, Ford, General Motors, you can go through the list of other manufacturers, bring an electric vehicle to the platform, and they start building it by the masses. And Elon's not the only guy, I should say, on the street with electric vehicle. I mean, how many years did Elon get? Elon got close to 10 years of just really being the primary only electric vehicle go-to manufacturer. And then his carbon footprint credits that he sells, the other manufacturers, I'm sure, is diminishing because of other manufacturers are making their own electric vehicles. So, I mean, the painting's on the wall. Tesla's going to have more challenges because of more competition. Doesn't mean they're going out of business. Doesn't mean they're not going to continue to prevail and make a nice product. The whole point is it's a much more challenging dynamics of a market that they had that's all changed. But at the same time, people think that he's so wrapped up in the Twitter ordeal that he's losing his passion and vision for that. I wouldn't buy into that. Like I said, what I just said, I think it's really what's the reality is, and that's why I've always speculated eventually Elon just sells Tesla because he sees the heyday of what he had, that niche is gone, and he can just cash out and let some other bigger manufacturer just put it under their umbrella and make things work better. I think that's probably where it's going. He'll sell out the Tesla charging stations. So it's the race. But the point is, the race is a perfect example of what's happening to Elon Musk. The race for the catch-up of EV vehicles is now creating him more challenges and Tesla more challenges, be my guess. I'm not the expert, that just general thoughts. And then you think, like I was talking a second ago, the race of a green agenda. The green agenda is at the highest race of all ever in modern times to start putting these mandates of ICE elimination like we've never seen. So it's a race. The green agenda is on a race. It's like they're working as fast as possible to make changes. Why is that? I mean, sometimes don't you think when you race and you're racing your car down the road, you think to yourself, wow, this opens the door for me to get a speeding ticket. This opens the door for me to get in a car crash. This opens the door for some of your variables because you're racing, you're going too quick. And that's a whole other conversation where when you force things, or you make fast decisions, or you're racing through time, you tend to make mistakes. Wouldn't this kind of start to play out where we see the governing bodies are of this world, in this country, that are racing as fast as possible to change policies? And so I think to myself, wow, the race is on like never before, especially the sitting administration that seems to be racing bills through as fast as possible, which we all know, because at the end of this year, they lose the power of being the power of the House to control all this voting to get things to their favor. And remember, I've been talking about, it's been awful quiet. Boy, oh boy, where does 2023 go? I'll be amazed by middle of next year, especially late 2023, first 2024, of the violence and hate of the media machine is ratcheted up like never seen, all over again, to persuade people to vote a certain way. Just like the Roe versus Wade, right before the midterm elections came out, that was, the whole nother conversation, all brought up again, and people voted based on their views that the GOP, the Republicans, can take away a woman's right to have an abortion, which is like, it's so confusing. You're so misunderstood. That's not factual, but that's what everybody based their voting on. So the whole point is, it's the race, and here comes the kid. The kid and my father, Popcorn, have raced back from getting their breakfast and whatever antics they're doing this morning, which that's the routine. My kid loves going to breakfast with my father. I'm not lying. My kid races to get out of bed in the morning down here to be able to be with my dad, to race up to Starbucks to get a cup of coffee. Where she says, I just showed you here, coffee right here. I just made that in 1 minute. Hey, how's it going there, huh? How's the team doing? Look, he doesn't even know I'm over here. See, he's just here. There they go. Right. Yeah. See, look. Did you let him drive the car?
Yeah.
Is he cognizant of where he is on that drive? Huh? Yeah. There he goes.
Already making trouble.
All right. Yeah. Here he goes. The support. Right. Yeah. Okay. So they go to Starbucks. My dad gets out of bed. This is no lie. My dad gets out of bed and races to Starbucks. This story. Remember that house that you? Okay. They came up. They would spend 4 months a year up at that house as I paid for it and took care of it. But hey, it's all good. Trust me. It's all about the family love. And here we go. I started talking to him. Hey, Dad. Oh, poor baby. And so my dad would get up in the morning up there in Virginia where I live. And Starbucks is basically like 8 miles away. And he would race. He'd get up in the morning and he would drive to Starbucks to get a cup of coffee and a paper back in the time, and like a Danish to bring it back from my mom. But at that time, the roads were, busy, so it'd probably take him about 15, 20 minutes. Probably talking close to 30 minutes. It's like a 15-minute drive up to town, but it's probably like 30 with him sitting in traffic. He had to get a coffee. He is a Starbucks addict like you can't believe. If he didn't have his routine to go to Starbucks, oh my gosh, I don't know how to handle with it. It'd be, yeah. I'd be racing to go save him. Yeah, so anyways, it's all about the race, and it gets a little political, but for me as an individual, we're in a governing body country that, dictates what you can and can't do. So for anybody that doesn't want to talk about politics, it's like, yeah, that's fine, I get it. But if you're sitting back, as always, the Respect for Marriage Act just got passed. The CHIPS bill, which I haven't talked a lot about that, the CHIPS bill got passed a while ago, and boy, that's some of these our allies or our trade partners or whatever you want to call them. They're not excited about this chip deal where we're bringing all this chip manufacturing back to our own states. And that's another day conversation to talk about free trade and where this country is and where it's gone and where we think it's going back to. That's a whole other day. Trade. Maybe I'll just make the conversation trade one morning. So the race, and then I think of myself in the negative connotation of the word race. We've seen the divisions of the white versus the black people because of race. And we saw back in, I have to use the 2019, 2020, where the Media Machine just ratcheted up the race, the BLM, everybody, you know, I mean, just really, to me, it was so disheartening for me as an individual, because I was so brought up that somebody that doesn't look like me doesn't mean that I don't like them. You know what I mean? I was so brought up that you don't look at people by how the way they looked to decide if you like them or not. And oh my gosh, unbelievable what the Media Machine ratcheted up in 2019 to make people think, because I looked the way I looked, that somebody looks a different color, that I didn't like them or respect them. Unbelievable. I mean, maddening. To me, very maddening, because just a wrong thing that they're trying to teach younger people. And yeah, what's that? That was a race. That was a race of time to get the city administration out of power, and a race of time to put the new city power in place, and all the things they raced to do to make people make quick decisions. I mean, I'd be curious how many people they could retract back to 2019 if they'd be like, you know, I don't know if that was the right decision or not, but it's kind of raced to think that's what I'm going to do. And then during the pandemic, everybody raced out to go buy a car. Everybody raced out to go buy a motorcycle. Everybody raced out to buy an RV. Everybody raced out to go buy a boat. Everybody raced out to go buy a house. Oh my gosh, the race! It's actually like there was a green flag. It was actually like a yellow, you know, line or whatever you want to call it, the start of the race. And as soon as the government raced to shut everything down, does everybody remember that during the pandemic? That race was instantaneous. Everybody remember that March of 2020, where the federal government came in and states came in, and everybody was raced to go home, and the kids were sent home or was raced. But then, boy, once the government kind of figured out what was going on a little bit, they opened the doors back up for the big guys, and everybody raced out the door to go buy whatever they could as fast as possible. Wow. Yeah, the race, right? All right, 30-minute video. I think that's just long enough. People, I think, lose attention after probably 5 minutes with me. 10 minutes? 12? 18 minutes? What is the viewing time of my YouTube channel? The guy that talks a lot. Should I change my channel? Talks a lot, you know, the Ice Age. But anyways, everybody, thanks for watching. Just throw ideas out there. That's all I do. I just like to talk. You notice I'm in Florida. I didn't even know if they could make this work down here, but it seems to be working because my kid and dad get out of bed early, so I can get out and kind of get things going. Then I can have some time to myself to think and talk, which that's what I'm accomplishing. And so anyways, everybody, thanks for watching my channel. And what's the next goofy video I make throughout the day? Made my brother and I video yesterday, and nothing, I can never get that thing to publish. Down here at my dad's house, it's crazy and how slow the internet is uploads these videos. But I'm pretty sure it's because it's the data plan that my dad's on. Yeah, so the race for the speed of the internet down here when it comes to downloading videos and publishing them takes forever, because I'm pretty sure that the Spectrum has my parents on the lowest, you know, broadband, you know, download and everything, which that's all. I mean, you have no idea how much I've fought the internet in this home for my parents. It's beyond believable. And from like here in the back is the internet, is the main, you know, control box. But then to go over there, just over there in that other room over there, you have no reception. I've had to put repeaters in this. Yeah. All right. Anyways, way off the subject. I need to end it there, right? Just, hey, Iceman, you're done talking. I'm done talking. Hope everybody doesn't have to race to get to work today. Watch my video. I stalled or whatever. Or race to get something done. You watch my video, right? Hey, everybody, thanks for watching. God bless. Stay safe and stay tuned for more adventures.